You and I had a good conversation yesterday about President George W. Bush's reaction after 9/11 when it came to the Muslim American population of the United States. I would appreciate it if you would recount your impression of the President's conduct after 9/11 when it came to this topic, and your own personal feelings about the patriotism of Muslim Americans and the role they play in keeping America safe.
Thank you, Senator. It is something that we talked about yesterday. And first off, let me say, I think the FBI director needs to be an FBI director for all Americans. Second, the conversation that you're referring to, one of the things that I remember being struck by President Bush in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, when the dust had barely settled, was that he took great pains to speak. I can't remember if he spoke at a mosque or what, but I remember that he made a special point of speaking out and saying that that this was not a situation where we, in the war on terror, were at war with Muslim Americans. An outreach to the community at a time when it would not have been by any measure politically expedient to do that. And I remember thinking at the time that that was a remarkably courageous and noble gesture on his part, and I admired him for doing that, especially at that time in that environment.
So I said to you, it is my impression, meeting with Muslim Americans in my state, families and individuals, they are in the same state of mind today as Japanese Americans were during World War II, when many were headed to internment camps for security purposes. What can you say on the record now, if you are chosen as director of the FBI, about your relationship working with patriotic, God-fearing, lawful Muslim Americans in our nation?
Senator, I would say sort of what I was saying just a minute ago, which is I think the FBI director and the FBI needs to be the FBI and the FBI director for all Americans, including Muslim Americans. And my experience in terrorism investigations has been that some of the best leads we ever got were from members of that community, from Muslim Americans. And I remember having conversations with among others, U.S. Attorney from your state, Pat Fitzgerald, a friend of mine. And so while certainly we do face threats from certain radical ideologies when turned to violence, it is also true that those Americans, just like all Americans, are people that we need to get information from to help protect the homeland.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.